I want to say I am not planning on become a Taylor Swift fan YouTuber. There's plenty of those. I don't need to be this one. I'm just talking about what my own thoughts are on this album and on Taylor Swift in general. Okay, guys, it's been like 3 weeks since the Tortured Poets Department was released, and I decided like to take this break to like really think about it, and I definitely kind of forgot I made this video. But so like I told you, I only reacted with you guys to the first part because I didn't have time to do the second part. But the second part was insane. I don't know if I don't remember what I filmed last time. So if I already said this, sorry for repeating myself, but it was insane. Everything about the day that that album came out was iconic and insane. Like the fact that she actually released a double album and she did a double drop is like Taylor Swift, you are an insane woman. By the way, I did nails the same day the album came out, and this nail set is like, it was supposed to be for Passover, which I am not gonna upload a video about because there wasn't enough stuff. But it's also happened to match the album, so I think it's pretty cute. I'm also taking them off today, so bye bye nails. Yeah, so here are some of my thoughts about the Tortured Poet Society, the Tortured Poet Department. Okay, so my thoughts are, first of all, it's incapable. Anyone who says it isn't, like that it isn't good, is wrong. It's taste, like you can't really be wrong. But there's something I thought about it, that this album is not made for the fans. And what I mean is that she didn't write the songs for fans. There are songs that you write because your fans, after a few years of knowing who they are, will like it. We as a fan base, we like the folk tracks. We like find out the new things. We like more specific genre of music, most like way of writing, the specific way she produces. There is a way on a fan base, even a huge fan base like the Swifties, they do tend to go for one way or another in certain areas. Obviously there are people who like the other way a little bit more, and some people like this way a little bit more, but we all as a group tend to go to a certain direction together because that's what makes us a fan base. But this album specifically, I don't think it was made for a fan base. It was made purely for her to kind of close off a chapter that was really huge in her life. If it was like this 10-year situationship she apparently had with Maddie, if that's true, or the 6 years relationship she had with Joe, like 6 years is a lot of time. Like it's a lot of time. Like think about it. I went to elementary school. I went to elementary school for 6 years. That's how long it is. Or high school and middle school together is 6 years. Med school is longer than 6 years. Like this stuff, it's a long time. Like we don't notice it go by, but it's a long time. That's why like a lot of those songs, in my opinion, do sound very similar to her other albums, because close up a chapter, she's tired of the eras. The era story is happening right now, and there's no more eras, or like there will be maybe in like TS12 or TS13, but she doesn't do more of a new era. This is kind of a closing chapters to all of her old eras. This is the closing chapter for the past 6 to 7 albums that she wrote about Joe, that she wrote about Maddie, that she wrote about everything since like 2014, and that's completely fine. And the songs, they don't need to sound good to us. I'm just gonna say something. It does not need to sound good to us. The only person who this album needs to sound good to is Taylor, because it's her album. This album is not for the critics, it's her to close off a chapter. That's why sometimes it sounded more chunky and more lyrically and produced less, produced not as good as the rest of the album, because it was for her only. It was what she wants to listen to right now and what she wants to write and what she wants to say. And it was not for the critics. And by the way, even though it wasn't for the critics, it wasn't for the fans, it was purely for herself, which is something that I don't think she has done since her first album. Because when you write your first album, it's purely for yourself. You don't know what the fans are gonna like because you don't have any fans. You don't know what the critics are gonna like. You don't really think about the critics because you want to be a singer, so you put your own songs first. And then when you get into the world, then you start thinking about the critics more and how to please them, because you want to be to have the fame. Like if your first album do well and does good, that's amazing. But usually you write your first album purely for yourself with no thoughts of the critics, of the fans, or anyone else besides maybe your family and friends and what they will think. And ever since that, she writes something for herself, but it's also for the critics and for the fans and for the people who listen and for everyone, because she tries to please people so she will get, more fame or awards and stuff like that. And this, in my opinion, of course, is the very first album that she wrote in 16 years that is purely for herself, just like the first album was. And the double drop might have been a little bit for the critics and for the fans. Yeah, she gave us a lot. That's my thought about that. I thought about this as something that people viewed less well. Like the first day, my entire Facebook page and lots of articles were like, well, it's not as good, I'm a Swiftie and I genuinely don't think this album is good. I was like, well, first of all, I thoroughly enjoyed this album. I thought it was amazing. But that's my vibe. But even though, sorry, my desk is shaking. Even though most people were like, well, it's not as good, it's not as good, it's not as good. This album was one of the most successful albums in the last couple of decades. It has been the most successful Taylor Swift album to now. It has been incredibly viewed. It has been incredible. It's broken records over records and records and records in days. It did stuff that other albums took weeks to do, and it did it like this. It's incredible, honestly. Even though most people didn't like it. And the funniest thing is, all of the Taylor Swift haters who listened to the album, they were like, well, it doesn't deserve all of these awards and all of the records that it's breaking. Well, you helped break the freaking records because you listened to an album of a singer you hate. But we won't get into the whole Taylor Swift haters thing, because I have so much thought about the Taylor Swift haters, because they are so much, they're on another level. I'm a Swiftie, I'm looking over here, and I just put up Taylor Swift posters on my wall, and oh my god, you know her more than I do. Why do you know so? Okay, the haters helped her break those records, so thank you, because you did that. I didn't do that. The Swifties didn't do that, because if only the Swifties who listened during Anti-Hero would have listened the same amount of times to the Tortured Poets department in the first day, it would not have broken records. Only because the haters have listened to the album, even though they know they hate Taylor and the music, that's the only reason it broke the records. I'm just gonna put it right here. There's no other reason it did that, because people who already listen to Taylor Swift, who are gonna listen to it regardless, and we listen to Ed Sheeran. So if it was the same people, it would have gotten the exact same, maybe a little bit higher, but not that much higher than my Midnight. It would have gotten the exact same views and listens and streams as Midnight, but it got over a million more. So billion, I don't know, more, like a lot more. So thank you, haters, you guys did very well this time. My other thoughts about this track in the anthology. So wait, I'm just kidding. I have to go. Okay, I'll finish this later. Maybe I'll write down all of my thoughts. But I have to get my nails done or off because I'm not getting anything new done. I have to leave right now. I didn't even notice the time. Okay, so I'll see you guys later. Love you. Okay, so the Tortured Poets department. Now let's talk about it. So where did we stop? I think we stopped at the diss track. So let's talk about Thank You, Amy, for a second. Someone said that Taylor went too far, and that she's holding on to grudge or something that happened over 10 years ago. By the way, it started in 2009. Everything happened in 2016. We're in 2024, so it hasn't been 10 years yet. It hasn't been a decade. And so let's break this down for a second. What Kim did in this entire was horrible. It was a horrible thing to do to a person, especially someone you thought like is a friend. Doesn't matter if she wasn't her friend. It was a horrible thing to do to a person. Now, if we go to Kanye, everything he did in this situation was horrible. I never watched the famous music video, and I'm not going to, but from what I heard, that music video didn't only was too far and too much, it was horrible, it was harassment, it was something that a person should never ever make about another person. And if someone ever has the guts to do something like that, to cause so much hate over a person that, like your colleague, your peer, someone you should be at least trying to be civil with for absolutely no reason, like, you should get a lot of hate. Like, that's the reason to get hate, not the reason because someone decided to start rumors about you or because you're dating too much. Like, the things Kim and Kanye did, especially Kanye, were horrible. They were horrible things they did. Now Kanye, nobody will ever tell him that he should move on, because why should he move on even though he did a diss track with Taylor like 6 months ago? Like, dude, like, why are you dissing Taylor right now? Because you have no reason to diss Taylor. Now, the line about the kid might have been too much, but I think it came from the knowledge that I think we all have, that the Kardashian kids are Swifties, if not all of them, at least a few of them. I know Penelope, which is Courtney's daughter, is a Swiftie. Some of them went to the Era store. So that line is not very far-fetched from the truth. Like, even if North, even though we did see North in Taylor Swift merch, and the North is friends with Selena Gomez's little sister, who we know she's a big Taylor Swift fan. So even if North is not the Swiftie in the family, they have kids there who are Swifties. So I think it is not so far-fetched to say something about her kid. And by the way, I think that the song she's talking about, like, in the song she's talking about a different song. I don't think it's a song we heard. I think it might be like a Reputation vault track, because in Reputation there is no song that we can say is about Kim. Like, we can say the songs about Kanye, and most of the songs are about probably like Joe and Tom, but we cannot say that there is a song about Kim in Reputation. So maybe the song that she's talking about, that the kids will come home singing, whatever, is not a song that is out yet, because it's obviously not Thank You, Amy, because she said it's a song that she hides who it's about. So it's not about it. So it's not Thank You, Amy, it's not a song in rap, so I'm saying it's a song that have yet to come out. So that's about this one. Another line that I saw that came up a lot, like in order to like diss Taylor and like saying that she's bad, is the 1830s line from I Hate It Here, which is one of my favorite songs from the album. Okay, so in I Hate It Here, there's a line that goes, I'd say the 1830s, but without all the racist and getting married off for the highest bid, which is a line that people came. They basically just took the 1830s line and was like, oh my god, that's so bad. Let's just say that even without the context of the song, this line is not bad. Wanting to be in the 19th century is not a bad thing or a new concept. Let me tell you about a few TV shows that we have all watched or know about. Bridgerton, Anthony. There's also An Alms, which is a movie, not a TV show. TV shows and movies that are set in the 19th century is a very popular trope and genre. Historical TV shows and movies that are in different time periods are a very, very, very popular genre. It is a lot more popular than TV shows that are set in modern day. Most people will tell you they prefer a show that is in a time period piece rather than a show that is in modern day, because it's more nostalgic, it's more fun. All of us. I'm not gonna say. I have heard at least many people, hundreds of people, say they wish they were in Hamilton, not Bridgerton, in Enola Holmes, Anthony, that they like dream about being there. No one dreams about the bad parts. Everyone knows every time in history, including right now, is a pretty bad time to live in. Let's say this right now. There were homophobia, racist, anti-Semitic, okay. There were a lot of bad things. The sexism, people couldn't vote, slavery, murders. You know how easy it was to murder someone in the 19th century? Neither did I, but apparently very, very, very easy, because they couldn't prove anything. That's actually a really good reason to go back to the 19th century. If you want to kill someone, that's a good reason to go. So guys, we just read a book about it in English, a literature story called The Rose of Emily's Rose, whatever, about a woman who killed her boyfriend. Anyways, it's a very, very, very popular thing to daydream about going back. If it's for the men, Bridgerton or Anthony, I will usually go for the women, but that's me. Okay, so I had to pause for a second because my little sister came in with the phone that, like, my mom FaceTimed us because she's abroad. So, back to what we were talking about. So, we were all kind of daydreaming about going to the, like, a time period that is not right now, even though we know it's bad, even though we know it's a sexist place, we know it's homophobes and racist and slavery. I would like to go and visit Emily Dickinson. Let's talk about that. I would love to go into Dickinson, mostly because it's really gay, but I would love to go there. Or Anthony used to be one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Bridgerton, like the dresses, like the looks, the balls. Wouldn't we all want that? Honestly, if they existed like right now, like think about it, like dressing up the way they did in like the 19th century, and like also have the balls and stuff just without like all the bad things, that would be great. Like that, like honestly, like I dressed up this year for Purim as like a masquerade ball, and like, you know, it's really fun. We all kind of dream of it. So saying wanting to go to the 1830s as out of context is fine. Like, out of context is not a bad thing, because we all know the bad things. No one, not one person existing right now, unless they're a misogynistic, racist piece of shit, would not want to go to the 19th century, okay? But in context, let's go back to the context. She's talking about a game of kids game Like, you know how when you play family, or you play like in a restaurant when you're like 10 years old and you pretend to have a family, or you pretend to be in a restaurant. You know, I play this like that with my baby cousins. So very regular. Sometimes you daydream about being in a different age, like Stranger Things. That's just like another example. Or dreaming of being like in a princess castle. You know, like play, role playing, stuff children do. Like I remember being in kindergarten playing like family and being like wanting to be the mom, and then people not letting me to be the mom and then being angry. So I was daydreaming about being in Frozen. Basic shit. We all have done that. It's stuff that people do when they're young. So so that's in part of the context is very normal to say. So it says here, my friends used to play a game where we should pick a decade we wished we could live in instead of this. Very basic. We have all done that. We've all daydream about being in a different decade, being in a different century, being in a different world, being in a different what happened? Being in a different place, like instead of this one. And then she says that Taylor also said that as a kid, or maybe it was just she would say if she had all the knowledge now, like as a 10-year-old or 12-year-old, she probably did not have all the knowledge about the 1830s that she has now. She said like, well, I would love to go to the 1830s just without all the racist and the sexism and stuff, because as a poet, wanting to go to the 1830s is something that makes a lot of sense, because it's the age of classic American literature. American, like Emily Dickinson, who is, for me, she's my favorite poet, was born in the 1830s. Like some of the best literature for them, like Little Women, was written in the 19th century. That was the year of romanticization of literature, and classic American literature was mostly written was starting in the 1830s. Going back there, like wanting to go back there from that perspective, is not something that is unusual for a poet or anyone who's in literature. Got it straight. But then she says, everyone will look down because it wasn't fun now, because she was like, well, I would love to go there, but without the racist, without the sexist. But it wasn't fun because now it has all this heaviness around of the fun game of role playing like you're in a different century. And she says, seems like it was never fun to back then. Like now I know, like of all the knowledge I have now of history, but then it wasn't fun either, because we were pretending things we didn't actually want. And nostalgia is a mind trick. If I'd been there, I'd hate it. So in the context, it is a good line. It's supposed to be this awkward, bad line that doesn't make sense, that makes you want like question a lot of things, and it makes you think like a kid wrote it because she's from a perspective of a kid. And if you have a question about this, I would love to open it. Speaking of perspective of a kid, so high school, people had so many things to say about it. Like she wrote in like high school, what she's a high schooler. I am 17, so I'm in high school. But many people say that when they have like fall in love when they're older, they have people who make them feel like they're young again. And I think is exactly what Taylor is feeling, which is completely okay. She is completely okay to feel young again. She is young, but like she's not that young. She's 34. So if Travis makes her feel like she's young and happy and like at peace, or like times are simpler, like they were when she was in high school, that's completely fine. And by the way, she wrote the best like high school love song of all time right now. Like literally, like this worked for so many TV show couples like Troy and Gabriella. I am finishing watching One Tree right now, so like Nayli, like Haley Nathan, so it's really really great. I'm genuinely like, I love it so much. So yeah, that like in its concept is an incredible song in my opinion, because it's so fun. Also, we deserve to have some songs that are simple and fun. Not every song needs to be complicated. So we are gonna go back to the actual, like to the church of Poets of Harmony, because the last 3 songs that we were talking about were from the anthology. That is about Badadi I Love Him. But I don't think Badadi I Love Him is about a specific person. I think it's about like reaction from parents in general when their daughter starts dating, and like your dad is not gonna like your boyfriends or girlfriends probably, and the reaction of the media, like every single boy, every single guy she's dated, she was pregnant for him. Pregnant. She was not pregnant for anyone. Like, for the love of God, like she could not have been pregnant from every single dude she's ever dated. But apparently the media seems to think so. Other songs. Clara Bow. That's how you say it. I don't know. It's the last song in the first part of the album. And I think that many people did not understand the concept of the song, because I saw that many people started to edit Olivia Rodrigo to the last verse, the Taylor Swift part, and people in the comments were like, well, that's not the meaning of the song. I was like, yes it is, yes it is. So Taylor's writing basically is in the same concept of The Lucky One, of how there's someone who's really, really, really famous, and then comes someone new and younger and brighter and more attractive and replaces her. And also from the point of view that women will always be compared to the one that came before them. Like we all know how when Olivia started, the people, oh my god, I've been talking a lot. We all know that how when Olivia started, everyone will like talking about how she's the next Taylor Swift. Like no one is ever going to be, especially for women, sometimes for me too. Can you hear that? That's my sister. No one's gonna say like, oh well, she's just herself. No, Stevie Nicks was the next Turbo, and Taylor Swift was the next Stevie Nicks. That's like literally the progression of the story. Clever LeBeau was this incredible it girl, the first it girl. I don't really know the story of her, so if anyone wants to film me, and you should. But she was like this very, very fast like it girl and this exciting thing. And then one day, and she broke a lot of records, and she had a very interesting story, like a life story apparently. And then Stevie Nicks came along, and she was compared, and she was like, well, you're the next Clara Bow. You're going to be Clara Bow. Like, you look like Clara Bow, which is basically, she says Stevie Nicks looks like Clara Bow. That's the point. And then because the next verse is about Stevie Nicks, because the next person is the next Stevie Nicks, which is about Taylor. And then it's like, you look like Stevie Nicks, which is basically Taylor looks like Stevie Nicks. Because it's literally a progression. I think I'll put something on the screen to show you how it basically is. And then the you look like Taylor Swift is basically the next Taylor Swift. Like Taylor Swift was the next Stevie Nicks, and Stevie Nicks was the next Clara Bow. So that can be about anyone. It can be about Olivia Rodrigo. She might not look like her physically, because obvious reasons, but lyrically, the way she becomes like this big pop star that we see less and less. Like if we see it, we know that most of the pop stars today are ones who we have been with for years. There aren't really a lot of new pop stars. So her being compared to Taylor Swift, lyrically, the way she writes, the way she sings, it makes sense, especially when the like 90s. So you've got Edge, She Never Did. That makes a lot of sense for Olivia, but it could also make sense for Sabrina Carpenter, for Running Rap, for Gracie Abrams, for Chapa Ryan, for literally anyone, because it's the next Taylor Swift. Most people do go towards Olivia or Sabrina because Sabrina is literally like this little mini Taylor Swift in a lot of ways. And Olivia Rodrigo used to be called the next Taylor Swift in 2021 and 2022. So it makes sense. But it's basically about the way that women can never be their own person. They only have to be the next something. I can also tell it's the same with actresses or science, anything, honestly. But like if we're talking about like fictional characters, like the way Yelena Belova, who is Natasha Romanoff's little sister, played by Florence Pugh, she was the next Black Widow. No, she is the Black Widow, but she's not the Black Widow. Black Widow is Natasha Romanoff. And so now, Yelena is the next Black Widow. She cannot be herself. Or like Miss Marvel is the next Captain Marvel. And stuff like that. There was the next. It's a very comparable thing. Because that means if she's the next this, that means she needs to be very similar to this. It puts someone in a box and not letting them be themselves. Like when Olivia first started and people were starting to be like, oh, do you think you're gonna be the next Taylor Swift? And she kept saying, I don't think I'm gonna be the next Taylor Swift because I'm not Taylor Swift. I'm Olivia Rodrigo. And I think it's something that is really important to point out. I don't think Taylor pointing out is going to magically change this, but people should really understand that that's how the world treats women a lot of times, that they just compare them to the one who came before them and expect them to be the same because they don't want something new. They just want the same thing but younger and like more modern. So that's my thoughts of Clara Bow. It's one of my favorite songs, honestly. It's really incredible. So for the first 10 years of Taylor Swift's career, she was like thought of as the nice girl next door. The nice girl, the American girl, the very like sweet, innocent, kind girl. And then Reputation came on. 2017, and she was suddenly mean and people were afraid. And that was, I think, the point of Who's Afraid of Little Old Me is. It's basically about the nice girls. Little Old Me is about the snide girls. Like, I was tamed, I was gentle, till the circus life made me mean. Circus life is obviously the fame, the media, that world. But it can be about a lot of things. It's about basically this nice girl who is people mistreat, they use, they wrong, they hurt, they are mean to, they bully. They think they can do whatever she wants. They think they can do whatever they want to her because she's nice. And she was always nice. She's always nice. Until one day comes along and she's no longer nice. And people think that's a bad thing. Like, I think it's one of the most powerful songs in the album because it's something I thought about a long time. To get out of being the nice girl is really hard. I'm a people pleaser. I consider myself the nice person, and I will help even people that I don't like, even people who wrong me, because it's really hard to get out of this nice girl thing. Because it comes from the point of being a people pleaser, but also you're genuinely nice, but you're also a people pleaser. It usually comes together because once you're nice and people expect you to be nice, you want them to keep liking you, so you keep being nice. I like being nice and I like helping people, but that doesn't mean that one day I'm not gonna get to my breaking point because people use the nice people. The people use the nice girls, they use the nice people all the time. And that's just kind of what, in my view, is the song about this someone who was nice until they just weren't. And because they're like, who's afraid of little old me? Because little old me, I'm the nice girl, I'm sweet, I'm kind, But you ruined that. You bullied her. You were mean to her. You hurt her. You used her. You took from her. You took. You, like, you misused. You wronged her. And she's no longer nice. And that's why you should be afraid. Because the nice girls, they don't only are, like, become extremely mean. They also know a lot, because the nice girls usually sit aside and they watch a lot and they know a lot and they talk to you a lot because they were there to help you. So when they become mean, they know a lot to hurt, because they are usually the one in the silence listening and not the one talking. So believe me or not, we know a lot more than you think. Oh, let's talk about the music video. It was incredible. I was absolutely obsessed with it. She looks stunning, by the way. Taylor Swift needs to write a movie because that would be amazing. And I was obsessed with the way she looked, the way she sang. The combination of her and Post Malone's videos, voices are incredible. She's so pretty. And she's so talented. And I love the dress. And I really like the concept of he loved her, like the whole Frankenstein concept of he loved her but he hurt her and used her and experimented on her. So now let's do so that's my thought of Fortnite, the music video, and my thought of the song is that honestly, like, it's not one of my favorites, but I Love You, It's Written in My Life, it's one of my favorite. Let's see if you know what. The Tortured Poets Department song, that's definitely about Joe in my opinion, and I loved that so much. Like, who's gonna love you like me? Who's like that's tough, and I think especially when you like stay with someone for 6 years, it's kind of hard. My Boy Only Breaks is a favorite toys. It's such a funny song because like when you love someone so much, you break them. And in my opinion, it's not always toxic people. I think that sometimes at this point of view, it's a toxic person with a non-toxic person. But sometimes there are two people who are non-toxic, but when they're together, they're very toxic. I'm gonna give a very bad example, and you're gonna hate me for it. Blair Waldorf and Chuck Bass both started off as a very, very toxic couple and toxic people. They both grew and changed. Chuck much slower. I don't like Chuck at all. I'm not a big fan of Chuck, but like Chuck and Blair both grew as people and become non-toxic just because they grew up. They were 16 and now they're not longer 16. But as a couple, they will always be toxic because they draw at each other toxicity. And that's like something like I had in mind, and that song always makes me think about it. That's why it's like one of the reasons I don't think they should be together, because I think that if like they will be very successful apart, but together they will ruin each other. And that is just a little thing. My Boy Only Breaks his favorite voice. I really like how she says, like, you should have seen when he first got me. You should have seen it. Now you broke me. Very fun. Down Body is one of my favorite songs because it genuinely brings out so much feeling. Like, because fuck it, I was in love. So fuck you if I can't have a house is such a powerful line. So On London is officially one of the best track 5s out there, and boy, you should have married her. But that album, we already talked about it, but it's a really fun song. You should not judge people in the media and also not say that she's pregnant with every single thing. In this one, she will never tell us if she actually got pregnant because of all the media, and I want to see it because baby Swift will be the most adorable thing. First of the summer, I'm just gonna, it's like really fun. Florida has been stuck in my head for the last 2.5 weeks. Like, Florida, toom, 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 toom. It's been stuck in my brain. I've been like doing the math test in my head. Florida, toom, 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 toom. Like, dude, math test. I need to focus. Guilty as sin. I feel like in the end of the relationship with Joe and Taylor, it might have like they say, it was beginning to run its course, and they might have started thinking about other people. And I don't know if we should conclude from that that he cheated, but they might have both. I'm gonna be like both cheated emotionally, which is just as bad in my opinion. But I think it might have been towards the end, or that it wasn't. We don't actually know. Because a friend of me, I did a whole speech about that. It's one of my favorite songs. I can fix them. No, really, I can. No, I cannot. Taylor. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't fix people, and it's okay. LOML. I knew it was gonna be lost of my life, but it was such a sad song. It was, I think, the saddest song in this album. In general, like both albums, it was so sad. Yeah, let's put it at that. I Can Do It With a Broken Heart is a bop, and it's one of my favorite songs, and it's generally my song. Like, that song is so good. And girl, I feel so bad because the way she, like, if it's that's how she was feeling, the smallest man who ever lived, dude, this one man who ever lived was like, if Dear John was bad, this was worse. This was worse than All Too Well and Dear John, and How Do You Do That? The Alchemy was like, I really liked it. Like, you can see how much I actually listened to each of the songs by how much I have to say about each of them. Clarabelle, like I said, I had a really big speech sheet. And if you have editors out there, I know I will sound really childish, but I need someone to edit Amber Smith from Soy Luna. I know it's a really old show. In season 3, when she had her all emo face and with the black that looked really good, and do the Taylor Swift part. If you guys know what I'm talking about, do it. The Black Dog. So I say he cheated. I think it's just like about post-relationship, like after the breakup, and they just still have their location shared, so she sees where he is and how he moves on, and it's really hurting. I'm Gonna Get You Back. Ooh, there was a lot of discourse about it because it's similarity to Get You Back by Olivia Rodrigo. I'm not gonna explain about this. If you guys want me to go to in-depth of every song, I can do that, but I won't do it right now. But it's genuinely like, it's such a fun song. Like, I'm gonna get you back, and we have like the concept of getting you back, of like revenge or like romantically. It's a concept that's been around a long time. We don't know when each of these girls wrote this song. Like, they both could have written them at the same time or at different times. It could have been after or before each other's album came out. We don't know, so we can judge. Like, I was never in like team Taylor sued Olivia. I was just like enjoying both. Honestly, I've been a fan of Olivia longer than I've been a fan of Taylor, but I'm a bigger fan of Taylor than I am of Olivia. So honestly, I'm siding with no one on this one. I think there was really great songs. Honestly, and I like Get You Back more because it's a lot more, I don't know, like dramatic, I think. I'm gonna go with that. The Arboretus is one of the most creative ones here, because genuinely, like, how do you know that that bird like flies for 6 years before it lands? Like, how do you know that? Chloe or Sam or Sophia or Marcus. Those are a lot of names, and you guys are really lucky people. How did it end? My ghost and me, CTNG, DYING. Sad, so sad. The lyrics in the song are phenomenal though. I Hate It Here is very relatable for a girl who constantly dreams about being in a different world, fictional world, being with other people. I already talked about this a lot. Thank You, Amy. I also talked about this song a lot, but it's one of my favorite songs. I Look at People's Windows. Do not do that, by the way. That's kind of creepy. It wasn't my fan favorite here, sorry. The Prophecy is one of my favorites. It is stuck in my head. And I really like the line of like, I don't want money, I just want someone who wants my company. It's one of my favorite line of the entire album, because I think it's really special, because a lot of people think all she does is for money, but she doesn't want, well, she does, but she doesn't only want the money. She wants people who actually want her there, not Taylor Swift the persona, her the person. Cassandra is like this. It's impeccable. It's so good. Peter, Taylor, can you please stop doing songs about Peter Pan? Thank you. Those are breaking me. I don't want to be broken. I like being fixed. Even though I'm not fixed, I'm mentally ill, but that's a different topic. But I like being okay and not crying. The Bolter is currently my song. Do you know how many times I bolted when things got bad? A lot. And as she was leaving, it felt like breathing. Yeah, no, it didn't. Well, it did, but it also didn't, because then I got another pens, and then it no longer felt like breathing. It felt like choking. But now I'm kind of happy, so that's good. Robin, I don't remember. Like, that is a song I probably listen the list. The manuscript is incredible. Lyrics, phenomenal, and that is a great closing song to this album. And mic drop. Okay, so this is everything about Taylor Swift, the Tortured Poets Department, and Taylor Swift, the Tortured Poets Department, the anthology. Also, a lot of people said that it might be just a collection of songs she wrote in the past few years, because she has released a lot of songs that are not. You know what? I don't know. Let's not get into it, because we no longer have time. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I know I enjoyed making this video, because talking about Taylor Swift is very easy to me. I can do that all day long, but I kind of like need to do other things. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. And question of the day is, what is your favorite song from TTPD Boom and TTPD the anthology? My favorite song is Who is Afraid of Little Old Me from the part 1, and The Bolter from part 2, and that White Change. So yeah, that's question of the day. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it, subscribe to my channel. I've been Razar, and I'll see you next time. P.S. Taylor Swift is my favorite singer, and haters can be hating. And if you want me to make more videos about talking about Taylor Swift, please comment down below.